All right, today we're going to find out why more and more brokers like Joseph Cortez decided to move their brokerage over to EXP Realty. This is Vincent Koo Live, the Alliance Movement. All right, welcome everybody. This is the Alliance Movement. The Alliance Movement is a global movement in real estate, in the real estate industry, to align, to collaborate, to work together instead of competing and working against each other. Today, I have the honor, the privilege of introducing our newest partner, Joseph Cortez of the Create Realty Group from Corpus Christi, Texas. Welcome, Joe.
Yes, hey Vincent, nice to be here, man. It's great to join you guys and be part of your team and expand your presence and work alongside with you. So we're super psyched for this.
Yeah, Joe. So I know a little bit about your journey. I'm gonna have you elaborate on it. But here's what I know. I know that you came into real estate, went into banking, back into real estate, then opened your own brokerage. Right? What year was that you opened your own brokerage?
Yeah, so it was kind of April 2008. So odd story, man. April 25th, my daughter was born, and April 24th, our brokerage just started because the independent office I was partnering with at the time, the guy pretty much changed the structure and said everybody's got to move their license. So I became a dad and a broker, owning my own office within like a 2-day period or 3-day period, and haven't looked back since. So it was pretty crazy.
So you started out as an independent brokerage?
Yep, for about 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So 5 years, and then.
So 2013, really wanted to take it kind of beyond myself. We had a couple of team agents and decided, hey, we want to try to grow brokerage larger, and went out and sought a franchise and partnered with a franchise for 5 years. And that's kind of how I met you. Yeah.
Yeah. So we met at one of the conventions, right?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, man, that guy's broker of the year. We got to go seek him out and try to have a drink or something.
Yeah. So it was really cool. And I met you at the convention, and I never thought, with all the people that I meet at these conventions, there's never an opportunity to really work with them outside of just referrals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's this kind of a cool environment where we can, we have vested interests in each other's success. So it's really nice.
Yeah. So you actually left the franchise before I did.
Yeah, I did. We left at the end of our agreement in 2018. We decided to go back independent. Kind of saw how the industry itself was changing, not just for the real estate agents, but for the brokerages. I think brokerages, especially small independents or small franchises, were getting hit really hard because of disruptor companies like EXP, and just a change in the way customers are working online, and the brick and mortar is kind of going away. So a lot of different factors led into, we need to be more agile for the future and see what the future holds. And here we are. So.
Awesome. So tell us about the brand that you created, Create Realty Group. Yeah.
So the idea behind Create Realty Group was to help have a place where agents can kind of create their own business, their own teams. And so at the franchise, we got up to about 25, 27 agents, and it was kind of becoming hard to manage both the office and my own production. Brian Buffini calls that Death Valley, and where you're not making enough off the office to quit selling, but you have too much office to help you sell well. So what we kind of did is start paring down, try to get a small team going, and really focus on creating an environment where we can learn how to run teams, learn how to be better for the people. And it was going well, and just kind of still felt the desire to build the office back up. And so that's started looking out for resources. And that's when I reached out to you.
Okay. And what was it that made you decide, in your research to, move your entire brokerage over to EXP?
Yeah. So one of the funny things is, when I started looking at our business plan of all the things we wanted to offer our agents, we had a $16,000 cap. We started looking at all the resources we're using, And effectively, we were building what you guys have already had, like down to the website designs. Everything we were looking at was like, and even a residual system, because we both come from a background of that, it started looking at our model, and I was like, well, how are we going to take our model and compete with you guys? And then when I saw you move over, I was like, okay, this has got to be something different than what I've been told about it. What's the real story behind this company, and how can it benefit our team? Because at the end of the day, the decisions we make are, about my family and about our team and how we can best serve them. And
Right.
So that's why we reached out to you.
So how did you research? I mean, you've heard of EXP Realty, but what was the research like? How did you really dig deep?
Yeah, so a lot of videos. There's tons of stuff online, which is kind of good and bad, because some of them are good, some of them are bad. But it really came down to I had met with maybe a couple of guys 2-3 years ago when we were with the franchise, and nobody really kind of explained to me what a great real estate company EXP was, as far as how it serves their agents, how it helps the customer. Because at the end of the day, our end customer is the person buying or selling a home. And as a broker, my end customer is my agent. So it really came down to talking to guys like you and Gil and a couple different people. After I had spoken to you, I actually called a couple guys that are in my Buffini and Company networks that are across the country, who I know are good top agents that moved over years ago. And I said, hey, just be straight with me and give me the truth about what you guys did, why you moved, why you stayed. And one of them, just shout out to Austin Chevron if he's out there in Indiana, basically said, dude, if you don't move over, it's because you have an ego. And he left. He was the number one agent in a large 100-person office, and he left and started building his team over there. Is doing really well with it. And he said, man, it's just kind of a no-brainer when you start looking at the math and everything, from the profit share to the stocks to the healthcare. I mean, good Lord, all that stuff. You start adding it in, and as a small independent broker, it's almost impossible to say no,
Right?
Because there's so much that's offered for. You think it's going to cost you, because it does. I mean, obviously now I have to go to a split, but I'm actually saving money because I'm not having to pay for the amount of resources. It's almost a wash for me.
But you know what? It's interesting because you actually use some of the resources that we offer.
Quite a bit of them, yeah. Our transaction management systems. That's why I said, like, I looked at our model and I'm like, dude, they got the same thing. That's just giant relative to what, and I could never scale at the level that we can now. It's one of those things where we are stuck in, if you're a local independent broker, unless you have a ton of resources behind you and a ton of energy and a ton of people, you're not going to expand very far and sustain. I know some guys that go into smaller markets outside our area, but the sustainability to serve those people in different markets, it's really tough. So
you're already doing great in your market. I think you're top 5% in
yeah. It's usually top 5,
maybe, right?
Yeah. So it depends. Last few years, definitely we've been.
What was very interesting is when we started talking to your agents about this, a couple things happened. One of the things I remember vividly was we had a Q&A with a group of your agents, and we're going over some of the reasons why they should, enjoy the move over to EXP and some of the things that they'll be getting. And somebody on your team just said, "Listen, stop. Right? I'm going because Joe is going. Right? I'm going because I'm following Joe, and it doesn't matter where he's going. I'm going to go with him." And and what I want people to understand, and what I want your group to understand, is that they don't lose you as a leader, do they?
No, yeah. So it's actually, from a leadership standpoint, one of the things that are really looked at was, as a small independent broker, the amount of time I had to spend trying to create systems and find systems and manage systems and tools was taking more time away from me than I could. That was time away that I wasn't spending with my people. And so now I actually have more time to invest into my group the way, and help them build their business in a way. So it takes a lot of that stress off me personally, and allows me to have more time and energy to focus back on actually leading, and not just worried about what's the process for cutting checks, or what's the process if somebody brings on a partner agent. Like, trying to develop all these systems, like, again, at the end of the day, it's like, man, you can't, why try to build something that's already there that makes sense? And that's I think a lot of independent brokerages struggle with. It's a little bit about, well, I don't want to lose who I am, but the benefit is this is like, we get to stay who we are. We're just standing on top of your shoulders of the EXP, and it's a really cool place to be.
Right, and you get to align with your agents as partners now.
Yeah. So
it's a different relationship, isn't that?
Yeah, that's actually it's a really cool thing, because now they get the chance to go help build a team and lead, and they get access to people like you and Gil and just all these different rock stars in the industry that we normally wouldn't be able to just reach out to and partner with, and that's really cool.
You know, Joe, the other thing that I remember in our conversations was, you know, I have a couple of agents, you said to me, I have a couple of agents that are actually moving, you know, out of this market. So tell us about that, and I guess how that works over at EXP.
Yeah, so the cool thing about EXP is it's a national company. I mean, worldwide, Australia, UK, right? So we got two agents actually this week or this month moving to the Midwest. And it's like, initially they would be like, hey, see you later. Thanks for being here. Now it's like, hey, if you want to join, you can join EXP in the Midwest, and you still have us. You can still call me. You still have access to me, and we have vested interest in you doing well over there. But you have access to local brokers in your market, other EXP agents, but you can still tap into our office meetings here in Corpus.
Love it.
Via EXP World and all these different tools. So we can build and expand our group based on personality, not geography. And that's a huge difference versus any other company. Because I mean, I was meeting with some of the other large companies here in town and across the state. I've met with a few, gone to lunch, heard the spill, and it's like, okay, great. But we're geographically locked in Corpus. And now we can expand our team and our reach to San Antonio, to Dallas, to Wisconsin, wherever, you know, all 50 states plus. And that's a really interesting thing, because we have a network that spans, you know, the globe effectively.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in New York, you're in Texas, and we're able to connect. We're able to align outside of conventions and conferences, right?
Yeah. I mean, COVID's pretty much just told us this is the way the world works. And, you know, shopping online was one thing, but working online is a completely different story. Even though real estate's a very localized business and a very on the ground business, the leadership and resources you need don't necessarily have to be local. That being said, though, we're going to keep our office open, which is a huge thing. We're going to keep our brick and mortar office open for our team, so they have a place to come connect, place to physically meet with customers.
So that I find that interesting, because, you know, we are a you know, global cloud brokerage. You have all of the resources, you know, virtually, right? Mm-hmm. But you decide to keep your branch office open. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, I can't work from home, so that's reason number one. But truth is, like, we're trying to make a hybrid of the best of both. Like EXP cloud-based, if you want to work from home, it's an amazing place. But your customer may need a place to come meet. You may need to be able to if you want to host an event and do a training, we're going to have those resources available for our team. We're going to call it the Create Cafe. We're kind of turning the office into a coffee shop. We already started some remodeling recently. And the idea is just to have a place where agents can go be professional, be relaxed, and get around other agents. Because tech is great and this is great. I'd rather have a beer with you tonight. You know? And that connection gets stronger over this. But so we're going to have those resources available for people that want to join our group. And it's a really kind of best of both worlds for everyone. So
that's an incredible opportunity for agents locally that kind of haven't decided to move over to EXP because they're afraid of what their business is going to look like if it's 100% virtual.
Yeah. And that is true. I mean, especially we're kind of laid back here in South Texas. And so some people still like to come in, shoot the breeze and have a place just to hang out. So we want it to be able to give them that opportunity. And we got a really great office location, pretty fun office place, and got geez, I think I'm looking back over there about 10, 12 office desk where people can just come in, park, got a couple of conference rooms. So we'll have that space to utilize. But hey, if you don't want to come to the office meeting at the office or want to come hang out, we'll join you in EXP World and go sit at a table. I drove a speedboat there yesterday. It was really interesting.
Tell us about the transition. What has it been like? It's easy for an agent to independently, just, an individual agent to say, okay, I'm going to move my license over to EXP Realty.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to move your group? First of all, how big's the group right now?
We're 7 people. So we were much larger, kind of pared down, and just, to make the decision to grow bigger, we had to make this move because that's the only way we can really do it and sustain it.
Okay. And did that kind of shake things up a lot? I mean, changes are difficult.
A little bit. I think everyone just trusts the fact that I'm going to make a decision that's ultimately better for for the group, and in many ways, most of our agents are actually going to benefit financially almost instantaneously. They're getting better splits. They're getting better resources, and so it's going to be good for them. As far as the process of moving over, it was so great, man. You guys are. The broker transition team, the agent transition team we're working with right now has been top notch. And the fact that there's even one in place is so great. Because when we did our previous move, it was a little hard. It was, what do I do? How do I figure it out? Like, here's a couple of PDFs. You guys have, here's people, here's meetings, here's resources. I mean, there's still a lot to learn and a lot to figure out. But I know that I just got introduced to our concierge yesterday.
Oh, you get a concierge for a year.
Year
in EXP, you get a concierge. You could go to that person for anything you need.
Yeah. So if there's a question about how to set up a website, how to set up their tech, business cards, you guys give those to us. There's somebody besides me to call, and it's not just because I don't want to get the call; it's because I don't have the answer. Yeah.
It's not just you that gets the concierge, right?
The whole team, yeah.
The whole team. Every individual agent gets one as well.
Yeah, plus the amount of support that's naturally there for every agent that's in the office and in the company is pretty amazing. So that was, it's pretty scary when you make a decision, especially when you're kind of, doing your own thing and you want to align with somebody else. It's like, okay, how's this going to go? Just off the bat, the initial meetings and support, the amount of people have reached out this direction has been phenomenal. So it's pretty great. So it's been really nice to know that there's somebody there and a group there, Mariah and all these the local brokers in Texas and all those people that are there to support us. It makes me really glad we're making this decision, and it puts a lot of foundational support underneath it to make it say, yeah, this is the right thing to do, because I know going forward, if I go talk to agent B over here that's at another office, I can say, hey, the transition's pretty seamless, man. Your business and change. And as far as the public goes, we're still the Create Realty Group. So our branding is going to stay the same. We're going to look the same, feel the same. We're just going to have the EXP logo attached to it. Yeah. And so for us, it's a really smooth transition.
I was talking to you about that. I said, did you create your new logo? And you sent me a screenshot of it, and it basically was your old logo with, brokered by EXP slapped onto it.
Yeah. So we just have to place a sticker on our signs. That was actually one of the things I had to think about, because I was like, man, we just spent all this money leaving our last franchise, had to come in, rebrand the office, do all that. And I was like, I don't want to have to spend another $5-10 to do that.
Right.
And it's like, dude, I think we're going to do it for a couple $100. Just getting stickers printed.
Stickers, right?
Yeah. Stickers. You guys supply business cards, and, we'll take care of all the other stuff, but it's going to be pretty easy. So I think that's one of the fears with in other independent brokerages is losing what they've created, because there's a little bit of ego. You're like, we're building this thing. So I was trying to explain it to my kids. They're 9 and 12. They're like, so what are we doing? We're not going to be Create anymore. I like the triangle. What's going on? I said, well, imagine if you're like a local mom and pop shop, hamburger shop. Vic's is my favorite place here. It's that greasy. If there was ever a burger that you could call sexy, it's the Vic's burger. It's just absolutely amazing. And they're a local place. They got a couple of locations. But imagine if they were to partner with like Whataburger's, the big one here, or McDonald's, and get the resources of the large company without having to change their name and their culture. They just have, if they can tap into the resources they want. So it's allow the local place to have global reach and global resources. And so that's how I was trying to explain it to my kids. And they're like, oh, okay. So they got it.
They got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were super excited. They were playing with EXP World yesterday and making my avatar. And they were just like, it's like a office video game. I said, yeah. I said the points is money. So,
yeah, my kids love it too. Every time they see me on doing some work in there, they try to get in.
Yeah, so that was, that's such a weird, like a weird environment in there, but then you start to get used to it. It's like, man, I could go set a meeting with you and like 5 other agents instead of having set up a Zoom meeting. We just say, hey, let's meet at this table. It's like an actual, like real world. And you go sit at the table and you hear everyone via audio. And
it's just like our conversation here.
Yeah. 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 And then other people can join in, and it's just it's a really interesting environment. So good place to meet other agents and collaborate.
Yeah, and it's nice because we've been kind of perfecting it for the last 10 years. So it's not something that all of a sudden the shutdown happened across the nation and we had to figure things out. We've been working on this the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, I got to say the COVID thing also led to the need for the transition, because I don't know. I have a feeling in the next couple of years we're going to go through something similar. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a pandemic, this one's going to last. Who knows how long this is going to last, right? That being said, the environment's changed going forward. We're never going back to December of 2019 again. And like I said, restaurants are going to have to keep curbside. A restaurant that doesn't keep curbside is missing out. So a real estate agency that doesn't have virtual learning, virtual classrooms, virtual environment is not learning. They're not going to sustain. And I think you guys are in the forefront, or I guess we are in the forefront at this point of
it's just an evolution, and you have to evolve to survive. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's really interesting to see it. And I'm not going to say early adopter. I've heard the phrase, I wish I did it sooner. Wish I'd done it sooner.
You still are an early adapter, right?
Still are, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how many? I mean, Texas, we probably have about 4,000 agents.
Yeah, in our market, we're about 1,400 or 1,500 agents. I think we'll make it about 40.
Right, and if you take a look at it, EXP's at 35,000 agents right now.
Yeah.
I think there's about 1.4 million in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. So market share.
Surface.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any reason that this company shouldn't. I mean, locally in our market shouldn't be over 250 agents in the next couple of years. It makes almost no sense. It's not that big yet.
Right, and you get to participate in that growth.
Yeah, and I think the thing I was trying to tell the team was, it's really it's not about. You get the chance to help somebody else build an opportunity as well, and with the profit share and the revenue share, not profit share, right? And you get the chance to help somebody else do that. And again, the way it had been explained to me was all about that opportunity. But hey, you get to join a great company that's going to help your business grow. You get access to great training, and you have this opportunity for stocks,
right?
Revenue share, healthcare, and all these different things. Plus, now we have the iBuyer system that's going to be phenomenal, and then all these different things that keep coming down. Like every time I talk to you, you're like, dude, you're about to announce something new, and that's pretty exciting.
New updates, new announcements. We just added a president, a commercial president to EXP Realty.
Oh, nice.
Huge. So our commercial division is, it's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, and you got the referral networks in there, and I mean, it's pretty great. So like, one of the things that is tough about being a small independent brokerage is you don't have that national referral network. So we had it through Buffini and Company, which the coaching company, that part of our culture, we're sticking with those guys for life, and now it's like, we got a company that's very similar. And so we just doubled the size of our referral network from like 30,000 Buffini agents to 70,000 with you guys. And so we have access to agents across the world. If you know somebody moving, we can help refer them out to another great agent. Like, shoot, I got my mother-in-law's closing on her house today, and I referred it out to somebody in San Antonio, and it helps us, helps her, and I get to stay involved with the transaction. And I mean, shoot, last week we closed on a EXP referral. Before we even, he was actually one of the guys that helped make the decision with me, so we got to do that, and so it's already connecting. So
I love it. I love it. I see great things for your group. I see great things for you. I'm excited to be working with you.
Yeah, same here, man.
What do you think? You said the biggest thing that you think is stopping other independent brokers from making that move is the ego side of it, or the branding, or
yeah, I think some of it has to do with ego, especially, I know I've talked to a couple here kind of jokingly in the past about EXP, and it was almost like one of them said, "Man, it makes complete sense. There's no reason not to, except I don't want to lose my name.
I don't want to lose my name."
Yeah, I was like, dude, you get to keep the name, and that's the thing. It's like you get to build your business just on a giant platform that is really great. So it's not Create Realty Group going away. Create Realty Group just got better. And so when I go into a listing appointment, now it's not just, hey, here's the resources I'm able to afford. Here's the resources we chose to have.
Right.
And one of the funny things in Texas, man, you can't even market a property until a day before it goes on the MLS, except inside your own office. So now we have 4,000 Texas agents to market to every day.
Interesting.
Weeks in advance. Well, that's a national rule, actually, right? The MLS Rule 8, I think it was,
right.
8.0 or whatever.
That's true. So we could market that internally, and internally we have 35,000 agents.
Yeah, especially when it comes to investment properties, and we work with a lot of investors. And it kind of leads me thinking about the workplace is such a cool thing. We were using that internally as an office as well, and now our workplace environment has just on Facebook Workplace it's been pretty cool just to go in there and see all the different groups and ask questions and answer questions and get some interaction with people from across the country.
Right. It's like our own personal social media network.
Yeah. That's really good.
Connected, jump into any group that you want, find out about any topic. And I always see it as crowdsourcing your answers.
Yeah. So it's a cool thing to be able to like see somebody say, hey, how do I approach this situation? And you're not relying on an answer of that person just in your office, but it's like, man, how about this person in San Francisco? What's their answer? This guy in Miami, and all these people that have different experiences and different ideas. And that's how you grow, is expose yourself to as many different ideas, and then you pick the best and how they apply to you. And I've just spent a little bit of time on there every day looking and watching. I was like, okay, I'm learning a ton already.
I'm in there daily. I have my associates in there as often as possible, because that's another place where they could just find the answers.
Yeah. And I think that's the nice thing too, is like, man, you guys have virtual meetings. We can join those. We have meetings and we can cross train together. And I think guys like Gil and it's different other EXP leaders are like, day one, it's like, dude, here's some information. And like, you guys are handing out like your playbook. I think that's what you told me, is like, you're willing to give up your playbook because it helps us get better, and it helps everyone on the line. And that's
where else did that happen? Where else did that happen? I mean, I don't know. I didn't share too much with you when we were in the same franchise.
No, it was like, hey, how's it going? Good. Yeah. Congrats on the trophy.
But listen, it brought us here, so I'm grateful and I'm happy.
No, yeah. I think that's the nice thing too. Like locally, we were going to open another office in another location, 20 miles from here. That was the dream. That's the next step. I was going to have to go spend.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And I was going to be like, we got to spend my kids' college tuition to buy a franchise and get an office to all these different specs. And now we can actually scale up and say, hey, okay, we're going to go open a satellite cafe, effectively, is what we may do, and allow our agents have access. I wrote that down 10 years ago. I wanted pocket offices throughout the city. So if I was an agent, I could just go stop in this little office and have access to it. And now, as we build our office, that's one of the dreams for me, is to have those little areas
Right.
Yeah,
And I, I don't know if you know, I'm sure you know that as a member of EXP Realty, you get access to all of the Regis offices
that's right. We
anywhere
just
in the
don't have
world.
any. We don't have any locally. But I was in San Antonio, staying at a hotel, and I was like, "Hey, there's a Regis office next to the hotel," and
Right.
I was like, "Hey, if I was we were already in, I could go work from there for half an hour to get some stuff
Exactly.
done."
So
Yeah.
jump
So
in anywhere you are, and bring a client in, have some coffee, right? Jump
yeah,
on their Wi-Fi, do whatever you need to do. It's
yeah,
just another location. It's like having 3,000 branch offices around the world that you could jump into.
yeah. That's pretty amazing, man. It's there's so much stuff that we're still. Every time I look into it, I'm like, "Damn, I'm learning more," and it just makes it that much better. And so, I mean, like any like small independent brokerage, I think one of the things that has you have to think about is if you build a real estate brokerage that stays mid-size, maybe 25, 30 agents or less, you've built yourself a nice job. Uh, and this is coming from experience. I mean, we ran one for 5 years, the last 7 years, right? And which is great. I love that. And I spoke to an agent yesterday, and their brokers may be making 5-10% off of their split, but I was like, she's probably making 2%. Like
Yeah.
she's in the business because she likes the people, but the risk is so crazy. Uh, there's nothing to sell at the end of it.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not building legacy wealth. You're not building anything that's really uh, of major value. It's kind of a weird thing to say. You could build this
True,
business up.
isn't it? I mean, and that's what a lot of brokers think. Hey, I'm going to go out there and somebody's going to take this off my hands. I'm creating some kind of
Yeah.
value here.
Yeah.
And
What's going to happen is they're going to take the agents off your hands, and there's nothing and that's free. That's just so it's a weird industry. And so we started looking at that too, because one of the things for us is like, man, in 10 years, if we want to move to a different city because our kids moved, my expandability is based on my affordability of starting an office somewhere else versus now it's like, hey, if we want to move to Houston in 10 or 15 years, I can start working in Houston tomorrow
yes,
and
yes.
building a business there.
I used
And
to. I'm tied. I'm tied to this marketplace. I can't leave. This is where my business is, and that's it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So that was actually huge part of this decision was the flexibility in our market to expand our market, build a small team in other cities in San Antonio and other places. Because like in our world, my daughter's a really good ballerina. We have to look at colleges and campus high schools outside of our market, and so there may be a time where I'm going back and forth between two cities, running the business here and running a business there, and this allows that to happen versus me having to try to set up in two cities on my own. And so, who knows what the future is going to hold with that stuff. So we just needed some flexibility, and same thing.
I love how that this almost seems to fit perfectly with the lifestyle that you're looking to create.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's pretty interesting, man. It's definitely a good fit, good timing, and we're really excited about what's going on, and just got to hit the ground running and make this thing happen and get it out to the marketplace.
Yeah. So Joe, what would you tell the agents, teams, and brokers that are considering or exploring and doing their research about EXP Realty?
Yeah. So what I would say is really sit down and we can sit down and have a conversation about why we made the move, because it was not as you know, I don't even know when we started talking, maybe April.
Like 7-8 months, right?
Yeah. I'm a slow decision maker when it comes to a lot of things. But once we make the decision, we'll go all in. Really had to figure out timing. But so that's the thing. Like I would say, sit down, have a conversation, do the math, do the pro formas, look at the numbers. As a broker, the reduction of liability is a huge thing. One of the things, like as a small broker, is like you can only expand to a certain level, then you start losing sleep. You have 25 people out there selling for you. You're like, I hope they don't make a mistake. So we get to build a team bigger now, and shared liability, shared responsibility is pushed up to EXP. They got your back the whole way.
Yeah.
And it's a nice thing. And so if you're thinking about it, I would start here. If you think you know what EXP is, you're probably wrong. I think because where we both came from, it was like, don't even look at it. They're a competitor
or anything, right? You can't even think about another brand.
Yeah. So when independent, I never got shared the proper story. I never got shared the access to guys like you and Gil and Jay Kinder and just all these different EXP rock stars. Where for me it was me looking for leadership, and as an independent office, you as good as the leadership that surrounds you. You don't have access to a lot of that. So if you're an independent office and you actually want to grow, the best thing you can do is align yourself with people that have grown and have a path. And so that's one of the reasons I reached out to you specifically is you took a giant office and several offices over with you. And I said, if this guy did it, there's something to it. And you have success. You've left a huge trail of success. I was like, okay, that's the path I want to follow. And so it also really depends, like if you're going to come into this company, is who you align yourself in with within the company. And so that was because I know a ton of people in EXP across the country. I just wanted to pick the right stream to get fed from, and that's why I went with you guys.
Makes sense, and super excited to be partnering with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you at some of the conferences this time as a partner, right?
Yeah. Hopefully in Cabo, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cabo in February. Looking forward to that.
Good Valentine's Day trip.
So, Joe, how could they reach out to you? To get some of their questions answered.
Yeah, so you could, of course, get me on Facebook. My company page is Joseph Cortez CC. Facebook.com/ Joseph Cortez CC. JosephCortez.com is my website. Then, of course, the phone or email is always. You can actually do Joseph at JosephCortez.com.
JosephCortez.com.
Yeah, so that's the easy way to remember it. And then, so we're here and gotta get the gear on and get going. We're looking forward to a good fourth quarter, man. It's been an odd year, I think, for everybody. It's been a good year and a weird year, but I'm looking forward to a fantastic finish to this. So
Me
I've got to
too.
get my EXP face mask.
Too. Joe, welcome to the movement. So excited.
Yeah, man. Thanks to be part of it. Thanks for all the support.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Have a good one.